Hi everyone, I'm going to continue series of Daf Yomi Mem Bet today. That's page 42 of Masechet Gittin. Very interesting. We've been talking about a half-owned slave and a half-free slave today, that before the owner has to set him free totally, what is the procedure? There's going to be ramifications to it if a slave is half-owned and half not owned. Let's say, for example, there's a case that if a slave is gored by an ox, the ox's owner pays a knas, a penalty of 30 shekalim to the slave's owner. If a half-free slave, let's just say, for example, is gored, does the master who owns half of him receive payment or not? How does it go? Receives half payment? How does it? So the gemara tries to bring a proof that the owner deserves nothing in a case where a slave's owner knocks out his tooth and then blinds his eye, for example, whereby, according we learned in Shemot, I believe it was in Parshat Mishpatim, in Perek Chaf Aleph over there, either of these actions will allow the slave to go free. In this specific case, we find that the slave is set free and paid for the loss of his eye, that value. And this appears to be a case similar to this specific case over here, where the slave is technically free and is missing only his formal release papers, let's just say. So he's not officially free, and the ruling is that the owner must pay for the loss of his eye in that specific case. Yet if the owner deserves to receive the payment for the slave's injuries until the time of his formal release, then we would have the crazy situation in which the owner would be paying himself technically. Could that be the case? So however, the Rishonim are going to add within regards to this, that in the case of a slave becoming free because of a loss of it, let's just say a tooth or an eye, for example, it is only after formal court proceedings that takes place that the change of status would take effect in that specific case. Until the completion of those proceedings, the slave will, at that stage in time, remain in the original situation. Thus, why would the second injury be viewed as taking place when he was already a free man, if we look at it at that point of view? So some thinkers suggest that in the case under discussion, the second injury must take place after the slave had already been declared free by the court. So he's already been declared free and then the injury takes place. But he's still, let's just say, waiting for his formal discharge paper. So there's that window of time where he's been free, but he needs documentation. Also, the Rambam and the Rashba are going to disagree, explaining that once a court decision is made, it takes effect retroactively. So seemingly not necessarily within regards to having the papers not. And the second injury will be seen as having taken place after the slave had already been declared free at that point in time. So very interesting insight. I would look into it much more, learn the Gemara, analyze it, everything, and look at all the opinions. Once again, this is from Rav Adin Steinsaltz, Zechet Tzadik Lebracha, and have a great day.